Hello and welcome back to Modern Jubilees. In this episode, we're going to talk about young Abraham, or as he was known at the time, Abram. We're studying from Jubilees chapter 11, and we're starting in verse 16, which is titled Abram's Knowledge of God and Wonderful Deeds. These are amazing, real stories about Abraham from the book of Jubilees. The child began to understand the errors of the earth, that everyone went astray after sculpted images and uncleanness. His father taught him writing, and when he was 2 weeks of years old, that's 14 years old, he separated from his father so that he wouldn't worship idols with him. He began to pray to the Creator of all to save him from the errors of humanity, and that his life should not fall into error, uncleanness, or vileness. The season to sow seeds arrived, and they all went out together to protect their seeds from the ravens. Abram went out with the rest. He was a boy of 14 years. A cloud of ravens came to devour the seed, and Abram ran to disperse them before they settled on the ground. So we heard before, Avram's father's name is Terah, and he was named Terah because in those days you had to work really hard, which is the root for the word Terah, in order to get any food, because the ravens were coming where they were in Mesopotamia to take the seeds and eat them before they could grow into plants, and so there really wasn't enough food for people. And so Terah, the father of Abram, is named such because people had to work so hard. So here we are, and Abram is 14 years old. He learned writing, but he separated from his father because his father was an idol worshiper. We know that he had a store that sold idols to others. So Abram went out in the season to sow seeds. He goes out to protect the seeds from the ravens. He went out with everyone else. At 14 years old, a cloud of ravens came to devour the seed, and Abram ran to disperse them before they settled on the ground. Before they settled on the ground to devour the seed, he yelled to them, "Do not descend! Return to the place you came from!" And they turned back. Clouds of ravens returned that day 7 times, and of all the ravens, none descended on any of the land where Abram was. All those who were with him saw him yell, and all the ravens turned back, so his name became great in the land of the Chaldees. That year, all those that wished to sow seeds went to him, and he would go with them until the sowing season ended. They sowed their land, and that year they brought home enough grain. They ate and were satisfied. In the first year of the 5th week, Abram instructed those who make the instruments for oxen and the woodworkers. They made a vessel, so Abram is now instructing the engineers essentially and telling them how to fix this problem. So he goes to the people that make the instruments for the oxen and the woodworkers that would put a frame on the oxen, and he instructs them. They made a vessel above ground facing the frame of the plow to put the seed on it and let the seed fall out of it into the plow's furrows. The seed was thereby hidden in the earth, and they no longer feared the ravens. They made vessels above ground like this on all the frames of the plows. So as the oxen were walking and dragging and pulling up the dirt, the seed would be slowly dropped into the earth that was being picked up, and so the seeds were being buried deep enough that the ravens couldn't get to them. They made a vessel above ground facing the frame of the plow to put the seed on it and let the seed fall out of it into the plow's furrows. The seed was thereby hidden in the earth, and they no longer feared the ravens. They made vessels above ground like this on all the frames of the plows. They sowed and tilled the land as Abram instructed them and no longer feared the birds. And so this improved method of using a seed scatterer attached to a plow marked an advance from the primitive method of scattering the seeds by hand. The invention of the plow, scythe, hoe, and other agricultural tools are attributed to Noah. Abraham brought relief to his society by adding this new invention in order to attach this seed scatterer. And this is taught in Rashi on Genesis 5:29 and Legends of the Jews 1:4-6. Chapter 12. Abram and the idols. And this is mirrored in Genesis 11:27-30, but this expands on it here. In the 6th week, in the 7th year of it, Abram said to Terah, his father, "Father," he said, "I'm here, my son." He said, "What aid or benefit do we have from those idols that you worship and that you bow down to? There is no spirit in them. They're dumb statues and a deception of the heart. Don't worship them. Worship the God of heaven, who sends down dew and rain to the earth, does everything on earth, and has created everything through his word. All living things come from him. Why do you worship things that have no heart or spirit in them? They are the work of hands, and you carry them on your shoulders. You get no help from them. They are a great disgrace to those who make them, and a deception of the heart to those who worship them. Do not worship them." His father said to him, "My son, I know that too, but what should I do with the people who command me to serve them? If I tell them the truth, they will kill me. Their soul clings to them to worship and glorify them. Keep silent, my son, or they will kill you." Abram said these words to his 2 brothers. They became angry with him, and he kept silent. In the 40th Jubilee, in the 2nd week, in the 7th year, Abram married. Her name was Sarai, daughter of his father, and she became his wife. She was his half-sister. At that time this was permitted. After the giving of the Torah, the Mosaic law, marriage with a half-sibling became prohibited, as seen in Leviticus 18, 9 and 11, and Leviticus 20, 17. His brother Haran married in the 3rd year of the 3rd week. She gave birth to his son in the 7th year of this week, and he named him Lot. His brother Nahor also married. In the 60th year of Avram's life, in the 4th year of the 4th week, Avram got up at night and burned the house of the idols that belonged to his father. He burned everything in the house, but no one knew it. They woke up that night and tried to save their gods from the midst of the fire. Haran, Avram's brother, ran to save them, but the fire overtook him. He burned in the fire and died in Ur-Kasdim before his father Terah. They buried him in Ur-Kasdim. And so this is a really important background story to Avram, because now we understand that Avram's brother dies in a fire that, according to Jubilees, Abram starts. And that's why Lot, the son of this brother, Haran, who died in the fire, was then taken in by Abram on his journey and sort of adopted as a type of son for at least some period of time in the biblical narrative. All right, we're in chapter 11, verse 15, Avram's initiation. And this is mirrored in Genesis 11:31 until 12:3. Terah left Ur-Kasdim with his sons to go to the land of Lebanon and Canaan. He lived in the land of Haran. Abram lived with his father Terah in Haran for 2 weeks of years. In the 6th week, in the 5th year, Abram set up through the night on the new moon of the 7th month to watch the stars from evening to morning to see what the character of the year would be in terms of the rains. And this was very normal in their culture, to observe the stars and the constellation and perceive and interpret what this means for the coming year. Will there be rain? Will there not be? He was sitting alone and observing. A word came into his heart, and he said, "All the signs of the stars, of the moon, and the sun are all in the hands of God. Why am I searching for them? If he wants to, he'll make it rain morning and evening. If he wants to, he will withhold it. Everything is in his hands." He prayed that night and said, "My Lord, supreme God, you alone are my God. You and your dominion I have chosen. You created all things, and all that exists is the work of your hands. Deliver me from the hands of evil spirits that influence the thoughts of men's hearts. Do not let them lead me astray from you, my God. Establish me and my descendants forever, that we should not go astray from now on and for eternity." He said, "Should I return to Ur-Kasdim that wants me to return to them, or should I remain here in this place?" So, first of all, it's so beautiful to see his words with God, this dialogue between him and God, and his prayer. We're all unique beings, and we all have unique prayers, and these reflect greatly on our souls. And here we see that his prayer, one of his big prayers that he repeats, is that he wishes not only good for him, but for all of his descendants forever, that they should be close to God and not go astray. Now he asks God if he should go back to Ur-Kasdim, which is where he's from, that wants me to return to them, where he's known as a great man who solved the issue of poverty, or should I remain here in this place? The right path before you make clear in the hands of your servant, so that he can follow it and not walk in the error of my heart, O my Lord. He completed his words and prayer, and the word of God was sent to him through me, saying, and through me is through this angel that is the narrator of Jubilees. And so here we're going to have around 2 verses, a verse and a half, that are in direct quotation marks in my translation, because they are direct quotes from Genesis 12, 1 through 3. And then we'll have single quotations where it's additional, that Jubilees is adding to this story. Go out of your country, from your birthplace, and from the house of your father, to a land that I will show you. I will make of you a great and numerous nation. I will bless you and make your name great. You will be a blessing on earth. Those that bless you I will bless, and those that curse you I will curse. All the nations of the earth will be blessed through you. I will be a God to you and your son, to your son's son, and to all your descendants. Do not fear from now and for all the generations of the earth. I am your God. The Lord God said, and now he's speaking to an angel. Open his mouth and his ears so that he can hear and speak with the language that has been revealed. It had ceased from the mouths of all of humanity from the day of the confusion at Babel. I opened his mouth, ears, and lips, and I began to speak with him in Hebrew, in the language of creation. So let's go back a second. God is saying to the angel that since the day of the confusion, which I'm translating as Babel, because that's what the word Babel means, the day of the confusion, before that, everyone spoke Hebrew according to Jubilees. And that goes all the way back to Adam, the first Adam, who spoke Hebrew as well. And so here we see that at Babel is when people stopped speaking Hebrew and started having the confusion of many, many languages that didn't understand one another. Now the angel opens the mouth, ears, and lips and speaks to Abraham in Hebrew, and then he calls it in the language of creation. So we know that the Bible is given in Hebrew. The commands of creation of the world are given in Hebrew. Hebrew is a very deep and esoteric and extraordinary language, every single letter with so much meaning, every single letter representing an image, a sound, and a number. He took the books of his fathers that were written in Hebrew and he copied them. So now that Abraham's ears and mouth are open and he can understand Hebrew again, which is a very intuitive language, he takes the books of his fathers that were written in Hebrew and now he can understand them and he copies them. From then on he began to study them. I revealed to him everything he could not understand. He studied them during the 6 rainy months. In the 7th year of the 6th week, he spoke to his father and informed him that he would leave Haran and go to the land of Canaan to see it and return to him. Terah, his father, said to him, Go in peace. May the God of the worlds straighten your path. May God be with you, protect you from all evil, and grant you grace, mercy, and favor in the eyes of those who see you. May none of the children of men have power over you to do you evil. Go in peace. If you see a land that looks pleasant to live in, then rise and bring me to you. Take Lot, your brother Haran's son, with you as your own son. May God be with you. Leave your brother Nahor with me until you return in peace, and we all go with you together. All right, that is the story of young Abram, and then now he's getting older, and so the continuation is of adult Abram. And Lot, as he begins to take Lot with him on his journey, now he's been initiated, he's been called to go to the Holy Land, he's been told that those who bless you will be blessed and those who curse you will be cursed, and he was opened up to understanding the very intuitive and sacred ancient language of creation, which is Hebrew, and then he becomes known as the Hebrew, and he is referred to as Abraham the Hebrew. And then his descendants become known as the Hebrews when they are in Egypt in slavery. All right, we will leave it there for today. Have a great day. Thank you for listening. This is Modern Jubilees, and we'll see you next time.